What's up, Mama Africa? What's happening? How you doing? I'm sure you can hear me, right? I was just in your neck of the woods the other day. Yep, I was just in your neck of the woods the other day. On my way up to Cali. Had to take another load up to Cali. So now I'm delivered that load. What was it, yesterday? Well, these days are going by. Yeah, that was yesterday. I delivered that load. And I'm now here in Nevada. So I'm on my way coming back to the OA. Yep, I'm in Nevada. I had to take my 34-hour reset, so I'm at the hotel just chilling. I was asleep early because it's freaking 110 here. That sun be kicking your butt, boy. Woo. What up, what up, what up, what up, family? It's good to hear me. What up, man? You said what? If you're coming to Cali. I just left Cali. Yeah, I ain't have time to stay. That's why that's why I didn't reach out to you. I had to just drop that load and get on back. Right now I'm in Vegas. Yep, I'm at the hotel, chilling like a villain. I'm on my 34-hour reset. So I said, well, since I'm off for the next, well, I'm gonna be leaving out early in the morning, headed back to Chi-Town, baby. I delivered that load, so we got the African Festival coming up this weekend. So I want to definitely make the rounds, show my face to that. That rounds out the summer for us, you know. Oh yeah, absolutely. If I'm coming, like I said, if I got the time, because I kind of messed around this time. I had some difficulties. Usually I get to Cali a day early. I was in Fresno, so I don't know how far you are from Fresno, but that's where I was at, Fresno. Yeah, but you could come up. There go the link, right there. You can come up if you want. I'm gonna turn the camera on here in a second because I ain't been coming on lately, so I want to use this opportunity to come on and just kind of show my face and talk about some of the things on our trip to Nigeria. For folks who don't know, I just got back from Nigeria. For folks on playback, yep, had a lovely time and gives me more travel experience to compare with some of the countries I've already been to, and to look at some of the things that we can do, some of the things we need to be aware of as far as having a place to go. I was on Bomani's live yesterday, and there was some things on there that kind of um, alarmed me, and I think it's only because we still going by some of these old paradigms when it's clearly been a paradigm shift, and I feel like some of us are paying attention to the shift, and we're gonna move in a way where we move with the tide or move with the current of the new paradigm shift. So that way we can catch some momentum, right? And it's going to compel us into the future, because certain powers that be are trying to make sure that African people don't see a future, you know? They're trying to make sure we don't see a future. There I go. What's happening? Yep, they trying to make sure we don't see a future. Take this earpiece out. Oh, let me put it in somewhere before I lose it. Hold it right here somewhere. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna set it right here. I ain't gonna put my set it right there. Yeah, so are we gonna make it in the future? Let me put the music down. Yeah, are we gonna make it in the future? That's the theme of tonight's show, because there's people out here trying to make sure that we don't make it. They don't think we deserve um, to make it into the future. Okay, they've already been holding back certain technologies. So even if we develop some new technologies that's gonna move the human race forward, which African people have been the leaders in that. They try to commandeer all of those things and make sure that it doesn't get out to the masses. They usually steal the idea, and then somehow the person who developed or came up with the idea somehow mysteriously is unalived. Okay, so because I've had a lot of ideas about developing new technologies, but I'm afraid, I shouldn't say afraid, I'm concerned that if I try to develop these things, that of course, if we use history as a barometer, okay, we've seen most of our ancestors, all of their intellectual capital and in ingenuity have been stripped and stolen and basically forgotten, um, and written out of history. So uh, for a person now, here we are in the future, to just say we're not gonna, that's not gonna happen to us, that would be foolish on our part. That means that we don't learn from history, and if you don't learn from history, what, you're doomed to repeat it. So I don't do that. So I'm thinking, if I do come out with something, I pretty much need to keep it to myself, because if you try to monetize it, okay, they have certain systems in place to basically steal it from you. Especially if you got melanin in your skin. Um, Now, if it's a product based item that can help society, then they usually don't mind that. But if it comes something for technology wise, that's different. So, I just wanted to come on and just say, well, let's talk about the new paradigm, okay, and the fact that we're living in a system that's designed um, for obsolescence for human beings. So, how do we avoid being uh, uh, what I want to say? How do we avoid being useless and aiding the system in getting rid of us? Because really, they kind of put all these systems in place, and then you get rid of yourself by not understanding that the system is out to destroy you because you're still working from the same old paradigm. Uh, everything's a conspiracy theory when it's clear that it's not. Okay, when I was talking about this stuff some 30 years ago, people used to thought they was like, well, maybe we need to invest and get this boy a psychiatrist. Maybe he needs to go sit on somebody's couch. And I quickly realized that that whole field is to take a sane person and make you insane. Okay, I went through a couple sessions just to see and show enough. But see, I had read a few books before going, and it's one of those things where if you go in there with the type of ideas that's just uh, if you go into these therapy sessions with the type of ideas that seems like they're beyond your station in life, your lot in life, then they basically talk you out of these things. Now, that's not maybe all cases, but in my case, that's what I felt. And they do the same thing in school, AKA prison to pipeline institutions. They do the same thing there, okay? Unless you are deemed a genius, and then they would put you in a track where they'll track you out of the main curriculum into a more advanced curriculum so you can eventually, down in the future, work for them to come up with um, systems and apparatuses to help them in their quest to dominate the world. So they pluck the greatest minds among us, okay, and hire them to come up with systems to help aid them in dominating us, humanity. It's a cold game, guys. It's a cold game. You know what I mean? And the people that ends up being in those positions feel puffed up with pride, being in a superior earning potential position in society, but not knowing that they are the very mechanisms that they're using to get rid of us, the general population. I mean, it's a cold game. It's the greatest. It's the greatest Jedi mind trick I've ever seen. Okay, and that's why they're quick to censure people like us. You know what I mean? I tend to just stay to myself because I realize some of my ideas is a little bit more advanced than um, people may give me credit for. So that's why I kind of just like, let me just do what I know to be the best thing. And if anybody follow my lead, then great. If not, then hey, lead you to your own devices. You feel me? What up? What up? I see you, Antonio, West Side. What up? What up? Uh, yeah. I like. Yeah, definitely. Amos Wilson. It's, yeah, exactly. Because see, Dr. Amos had um, a greater duty to his people, which super which exceeded right the field, and he used the field to kind of put a light on the fact that how we needed to be as new Africans, right? So yeah, that doesn't apply to him. I'm saying the status quo therapists. Okay, majority of them, no, you can't, because the sessions that I have attended, just to like I said, to be there, nah. You go read Carl Jung, okay? Um, I got another book. I like to turn y'all on the books when I do come in. I don't know. I think it's called. Hold on, let me look it up because I want to give you all this book. This will help. This will help people, right? When you're dealing with difficult situations, you'll know where these situations come from. So let me see, because I don't remember it right off the top of my head, and it's in my truck right now. But Of course, I'm in the hotel room. So hold on, give me a minute. And you're welcome to come up too. I put the link in. Let me put the link back in the chat, so you can come up and talk to me. It's just an open conversation. You know, we tend to have some good conversations when they're just open. All right, there go the link. All you gotta do is hit the link, and you can come up. You can keep your camera off if you want. You know, it's kind of late in certain spots throughout the country, so. I think that book is called, don't get me the line, I think it's People Something. Shoot. I hate when I can't remember titles. If anybody know the book I'm talking about, put it in the chat. Let me see. No, I'm back. I've been back. How long we been back, Fabo? I think I've been back about a week. Yeah, I've been back a week already. Yeah, I'm in Vegas right now. Yeah, I'm in Vegas. Yeah, I had a great time over there. You know, it ain't no Sierra Leone, but it was a good experience. I finally got a chance to get to Nigeria and see what was to it. You know. Let me see. All right, Carl Young. I think it's Carl Young. I'm thinking of. Doom, doom. Yeah, it's a lot of people, a lot of traffic. You know what I'm saying? We were back 2 weeks already. Damn, time flies. Oh yeah, you're right. Because I did make a run to what was that? I went. Oh yeah, I went to Indiana, and then from there I grabbed the load, and I'm out here now. So yeah, you're right. You're right. 2 weeks. I've been back 2 weeks already. Good night. What up? You going to bed? Long time. What you ain't emailed me and said you missed my broadcast? You know what I'm saying? Nobody reach out, see how I'm doing. If I don't just say, you know what, let me come on and talk to let me come on and talk to the peoples. You go my main man. What up, Jack?
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
Oh man, God is good, man, all the time. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see your face, my brother.
You at work now?
No, man. I just got home from work. I've been home from work for about 2 hours, but I was in the backyard working on my car. So
yeah. You got the car situation going on.
yeah, man. I picked up a few new parts and about to get this thing out there. So
that's what's up.
I gotta stay committed to the cause.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I'm out. You know, I came out your way. Well, I was in California. I'm in Nevada now, but I couldn't stay, man.
Man, if I didn't have to go to work in the morning, I'd tip up. Are you in Las Vegas? You in Vegas?
No, I'm right across the border. So that first, I forgot what it's called here.
What is that, like Whiskey Peak?
Yeah.
Yeah, by that area? Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I was like, you know what? Since I got to build a 34, let me go and grab me a room and go to the casino, see what they're doing in there, and just kind of chill out. You know what I mean?
That's right, at the casino.
I don't get it. I just went in there just to see what people in there doing. You know what I mean? Are they in there just looking sad?
I know.
Smoking cigarettes. I'm like, nah. I walked around in there. I went to the Levi store and bought me a pair of jeans and a couple of things just to mess around. And so I'm gonna leave out in the morning because I want to be back for the African Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, the African Fest starts I think Friday, so I get there Saturday and Sunday. I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I'm gonna spend at least one day there so I can kind of take in the festivities or whatever. But you know, that's what it is.
Right on.
So I figured I'd come on because I was talking yesterday, man, on the live, and we got a lot of growing to do as African people, man. Because I think we got a lot of problems, and we're not progressing to the point where I would like to see us taking it serious that these people are really planning for us not to be here.
Yeah.
And they're saying by 2030. So it ain't like 2095. They talking about 2030. So we ain't that's like less than 8 years.
Yeah, I think one thing that we can do to help is really identify what things are distracting us. I think a big problem is that in this country and the world in general, with the advance of technology regarding social media, we have more distractions. So we're not focusing on the things that we should be focusing on that will allow us to gain the skills to build the necessary infrastructure for us to be able to do for self. And that's really the big problem. It's just we're distracted because we have the information is there, right? The information is easily available if you are looking for it and not getting distracted. I mean, like on my shelf right now, if you just read the books that I have in my own personal library, you'd be a intellectual juggernaut, right? Just right here, I'm gonna just turn to a few of the titles, just so you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So, because you were talking about the book that you have in your truck right now, and I'm so thankful that you did that. And I'm gonna go ahead and follow your lead and do the same thing. So here's some of the books that I have in my library, right? This book right here by Dr. Amos Wilson, Blueprint for Black Power, right? Another book, African-Centered Consciousness versus the New World Order, Dr. Amos Wilson. You have by Dr. Joy DeGroy, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, another excellent book, right? You have this great book by Tom Burrell called Brainwashed, right? There's so many different titles. You have Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson, right?
That's right.
Let's see here. Oh, there's so many. You have Medical Apartheid by Dr. Harriet A. Washington, right? You have so many books that are readily available, that if we spend more time just in study, developing our mental fortitude, doing away with the distractions that destroy our minds, our bodies, and our communities, we'd be able to build whatever we want. And you don't have to just stick with, books that are geared toward, what people would say pro-blackness. I mean, on the shelf, I have modern, let's see, can you see this? Modern carpentry, right? If we're talking about building anything, you need to have trade skill.
That's right.
Carpentry, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, masonry, right? These are the things that we need to be focused on, studying every day, developing think tanks, talking about these things, talking about the different tools that we need, when we become, tradesmen, water and wastewater treatment, right? That's a major thing. Every time I go to Africa, you see, we were just in Nigeria together.
Yep.
Water and wastewater treatment is a huge thing.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but we noticed it right off the bat, and then infrastructure was a problem.
Look at this, right? This is Water Distribution Operator Training Handbook. So the information is readily available. What we have to deal with are the distractions.
Yes.
We got to deal with the distractions, and the distractions work very well because when you turn on television or social media and you see us, the majority of the content that comes across your page is of each one of us tearing each other down, or like Dr. Clark Anderson says, behaving inappropriately, right?
Yes.
Doing things that contribute to the degradation of our image as a people. When those are the primary things that you're seeing that come across your timeline, you know, your social media platform, those things are a distraction. But we go right for it. We dig right in. We give our opinion. We invest so much energy making these comments, talking about people, destroying people, instead of, you know, going back and studying the things that we need to build to be able to do for self.
Yes. And
You know, so that I think that's where, you know, that's one area, because there's so many areas, but that's one area where we can really, really collectively as a group, including myself, improve. Just do away with the distractions and study more. Study the things, you know, specifically that you can use to do for self.
I agree 100%. And
Yes, sir.
right. A lot of them books that you have, some of them I haven't read, but I've been kind of like dibbling, dabbling here and there. But a lot of things that people don't really realize is that we got to come out of the old paradigm. That's the main thing. Things are not like they were pre-COVID. I don't know. People still kind of operating as if COVID is not here to stay. It's not going nowhere.
Correct.
And they only going to intensify, right, and bring out other variants and this and that. They're going to mutate and all this type of stuff. So, and all our other ills are still compounding. The economy is looking kind of crazy. And I'm saying to people, and you notice like other nations, they're going all around the world setting up economic powerhouses.
Correct.
You notice that?
Yes, I do.
The folks from China are going everywhere, whether they're there on behalf of the nation state of China or they're there on their own accord. They're going in almost every country setting up an economic base.
That's correct.
And it seemed like when I was on the live yesterday, it was either we really came down to two choices. Should we have more loyalty to America? Or should we have dual loyalties with America and Africa? Or should we just have loyalty to Africa?
You know, I think that I'm not sure if we should have loyalty. I don't know, to be honest with you.
That's the reason why I wanted to come on tonight, because it got kind of heated on that live, and most of us were in agreement that we need to have a global outlook right now.
I agree with that. I agree with having a global outlook. See, the thing is like this. If you're in America, that's why I don't really like to talk in terms of loyalty, because situations are conditional. Loyalty is even conditional. Mm-hmm. If you're married to a woman, you're loyal to her until she cheats on you.
Yeah. That
loyalty is conditional. So if I'm in America, even though me and America are having a bad time with each other, maybe I'm not being treated so well, right, but this is where I've been born, raised, and this is what I know. And some foreign invader comes in and tries to take over America, and I don't understand their language. They don't look like me. They don't understand the culture. You know, I don't have no history with them at all. I'm going to do my very best to try to take every single one of them off the planet that I come in contact with.
I agree.
So at that point, you would say that I'm loyal to America.
Yes.
But if I go to a place like Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, right, Kenya, Tanzania, or any of the other 54 countries, then and I find the opportunity there, and I find people there that treat me well, and I'm able to develop an infrastructure where I don't have to deal with the same stressors that I have here in America, and I built something in that place that's worth protecting and defending, and I'm there, and someone comes and tries to destroy it, then my loyalty is going to be there. So we have to keep an open mind about these concepts of loyalty and taking sides and all of these things. It's really conditional. I'm gonna fight for wherever my interests are, to protect whatever it is that I built, or to protect my family and my friends wherever they are.
I agree with that. Now let me
Yeah.
add another thing that they were saying based off of the comments. Well, why would we want to leave a first world nation, considering that we have access to all this economic opportunities, and then to go over to Africa, to these quote unquote shithole countries? Why should we do that as African Americans? And given the fact that even though we don't have a cozy relationship with the people who are in power in this country, we still have benefited in such a way to where we are economic giants, and we're going backwards to shithole countries, quote unquote.
Well, I would say the problem with that psychology, with that statement, when you say we are economic giants, we are not economic giants. We're functioning inside of a system that is dominated by a group of people other than us that have become economic giants. So there's a difference. I mean, we benefit from the infrastructure in this country that was built by the founders of this country, right?
Right.
We benefit from having, water treatment plants, wastewater treatment plants, pretty secure economic system. We benefit from, development of, subsurface assets, right? We have good sewers. We have all these great things here. Society is pretty stable. The majority of us, in this country speak one language. Those are all good things. But you have to keep in mind that the system that was put in place here was not put in place from the very beginning with our best interests.
That's right.
Right. So then I would not be so eager to defend it, right? To align myself so heavily with why would I, leave here? Exactly. Because, we're getting destroyed left and right in multiple ways, not just by police, mentally, physically, through our food. I mean, it's all kind of stuff going on, right? But I do understand when people say that. I look at the type of people that say that, and I don't judge them. I mean, that's where they are mentally. That's how they're processing their existence, their situation, and their possibilities. And I don't judge them because of that. The thing is, it goes back to the beginning of our conversation where we discuss what we should be doing, distractions, right?
Right.
I guarantee you that the people who say those things, have either never ever been to Africa, right? To see the opportunities that are there. They probably have not tested their DNA to see exactly where their DNA comes from, so they can kind of develop that curiosity. And then number 3, they probably do not have a skill set for building. So if you haven't studied, carpentry, civil engineering, electrical engineering, plumbing, all of the trade skills that's necessary to go in and build something, then you're not really going to see the opportunity there. That's just like, when I go and buy an old school car, I see an old 63, 64, 65 Impala, that's completely, rusted over, and the floor pans are ate out, and everybody else is walking by saying, man, that's a piece of garbage. Right. But in my mind, since I've gone to auto body and paint school, I know how to take that piece of garbage and make it look like $1 million. If you've gone to auto tech school, oh man, this is nothing. I could rebuild that engine, rebuild the transmission, get this thing going, redo the upholstery. And now that car that everybody said was a piece of garbage, I can now sell for $40,000. I can now take that $40,000 or $50,000 and go buy me a $2,000 piece of land in Africa. Oh man, I could take the other $38,000, take about half of that and build me a 4-unit building out there. Oh man, now I can rent it out and live in one. Now I have dual residency, right? So if you don't have that skill set, you're not going to see the opportunity, and you're going to say the things that a lot of people are saying. Why leave the comfort and what they perceive to be the protection of this society and go somewhere else and build?
Right.
That's why it's important for us to learn the necessary skills to be builders. All we need is dirt. We don't care what's there and what's not there. Just show us some dirt and we'll take care of the rest. But in order to have that confidence, you have to have the skill. And
Right.
that's what we need to focus on. Simple as that.
Yeah,
Simple as that, my brother.
Another thing they were saying on there was if we're so in love with Africa, because really the people, the naysayers that was on the live was basically trying to basically put us in a position for us to go there and fail. So they were saying, if we're so in love with it, how about we just disconnect ourselves totally from America and all the opportunities that this affords us, just sever that tie, go to Africa and get it in the mud.
It doesn't make any sense to do that.
Yeah, it was juvenile thinking when it was said, but I'm just like, I just want to get it out of my mouth to let somebody else hear what was said. So I'm not feeling like I'm the only one that was tripping when I heard it.
Well, I understand why they say that. They're saying, if you feel so strongly about it, then just leave. Yes. But that's not really the solution. When you look at America is a nation full of immigrants, right?
Right.
The vast majority of the immigrants that come here don't cut off where they come from.
No, they don't.
They don't. And I'm not saying that we're supposed to model our behavior after anybody else. I think we need to just, decide on our own what's best for ourselves. But why would you not take advantage of an opportunity just to, stay in a place where you're kind of doing the same old thing? Why would I'm a real estate investor. So I'm supposed to sell all my property here that I'm getting rent from and, benefiting from this economic system, and not take that money to another place and also create prosperity in another place? I'm supposed to just cut this off and then go over it. It doesn't make any sense.
See?
You should get set yourself up where you can prosper in many places, yes. Not just Africa, and not just America. Wherever you can go and find opportunity, that's where you prosper. If you go into a bad place, the place gets better because you showed up. But the only way that's going to happen is if you have a good skill set. And that's what we need to focus on. We don't need to focus on anything else.
No.
We need to focus on developing better skills.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree.
If we spend more time studying, then that means we'll have less time to criticize others. We'll have less time to tear each other down. We'll have less time for our minds to be idle and cause us to, to do things that's cause us to self-destruct.
Yeah.
We need to study.
Yeah, I think they were just mostly just trying to put us in a predicament where we're guaranteed to fail. And then another thing that was said was, because like you said before, I don't think these people did their DNA, and they haven't been curious enough to do it, so they could have a curiosity to which tribe they come from, and then be able to study that tribe, that land where their people were taken from. They said, well, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to figure out who these people were, what tribe I came from, what land I came from? Forget all that, because the reason why I don't want to do all these things is because according to what the stories that go on in these environments, that we were sold to the white man by our African brethren. So why would I want to go back to a land where they sold us?
I would say, first and foremost, we have to develop a critical mind. Right? We've developed a critical mind in the instance of our ability to look at things on the surface and tear each other down, but we have to think critically. anything that anyone tells you about your origination, you need to question it.
Yes.
You need to research it.
Yes.
Right? So you can come to an understanding and not just believe what you were told. Anything that anyone tells you, me, you, anybody else, don't be afraid to ask questions, to be critical, to be curious, to go further so you can have an understanding for yourself and not just believe someone else's narrative.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. You know, they say, oh, you know, why go to a place where people hate us, right? They hate us there. They hate us there. But everyone that I came in contact with treated me very warmly, treated me with respect, right? You know, welcomed me with open arms. So that is contradictory to the narrative that I heard before I went there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was curious, right?
Mm-hmm.
I tested my DNA. I made a decision, you know, to go in 2017, and I've been going every year ever since, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful for the opportunity that during my lifetime that I was able to journey to the continent, to multiple countries, and see where my people came from. I'm thankful for that opportunity. Now, I'm not trying to say that everyone else has to do that. I'm not even trying to encourage anyone to do that. I'm just encouraging you to think critically. That's it. Question the things that you've been told. You know, how do you know that it's a fact unless you go see it for yourself and experience it for yourself? Right?
My thing is, even if it did happen that way, let's say we were warring tribes and my tribe lost the war and we was taken as POWs, and then when the Caucasian conquerors invaders came in and was given these particular chiefs, you know, whatever they was giving, tobacco or whatever they was giving them, right? Something shiny, a mirror, whatever they was giving them in exchange for these POWs, because if we were POWs, they had to feed us, clothe us, house us, right? And they sold us and made a profit. Even if that did take place, there was a small select group of individuals that would have done that. And at this point in history, here we are 400 some years later, I can, like you said, critically think, okay, I can see that happening. But at this point, given the circumstance of how the world is ran now, things are different. You hear a white Albanoid counterpart say, oh, don't worry about slavery. That was way back then. You know what I mean? So we can develop the aptitude to say, you know what? Even if that did happen, we're going to bury the hatchet. We're going to reunite with our family that's there. Because even though if we were taking, our African family is still there. They never left the continent. We may not know exactly who they are, but we know they're still there. So your lineage is still there.
That's correct.
And a lot of folks say at the same time, well, we're not even from Africa. We're not Africans. We're native to the Americas. And I say to that is, well, if that's the case, we could say that we actually truly native to the planet Earth. And the Americas and Africa is still Earth.
Correct. I would also say that's why it's very important to study. There's a book that I would recommend by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. The book is called They Came Before Columbus.
Yes.
I would encourage everybody to read that book because, you know, I know I'm aware of the opinion that, you know, some of us are native to America or that all of us are native to America. And I would not refute that. I wouldn't go against it. I would say, let's clarify it by your timeline, because when we give these facts, we have to be very clear about time, right? So what that person is saying could be true according to a certain timeline, right? So if you're born in a place and you die in a place, you're from that place, right? You were born in that place, you died there, you're native to that place. So, you know, for a certain period of time, what they're saying could be true. For a different period of time, what we're saying can be true.
True.
Right? So we have to be very clear about the facts that we state in the timeline. You know, we sit up and we have these arguments and we get all this vitriol, and both of us might be right, depending on what timeline you're talking about.
And then you know what I always say too? It's like, well, if those people who actually believe in that we are from Americas, we are from the Americas, most of these cats haven't done their DNA. And if they did do their DNA and it links up with certain tribes in West Africa, now if that's the case, I would want to see them give me a good argument on how that's possible. So did we come first here in America and migrate to Africa, or were we born and were we originated in Africa and migrated here?
Well, what I would say is, we know for a fact, based on historical documents, that voyages went from Mali to the Americas.
Absolutely.
We know that. We don't hear a whole lot about those voyages returning from America back to Mali.
Right.
We also know that other peoples also came to the Americas. So then we know that what happens when you have groups of people, you know, they intermix with each other, right?
Right.
And so then you have different people being born. So, you know, now things like incest are frowned upon heavily, except within like the monarchy, right?
Right.
But amongst regular people, incest is something that is frowned upon heavily.
Right.
But when we're talking hundreds or thousands of years ago, you populated with the people that were closest to you, and they populated with the people that were closest to you, right? So we know it was some incest going on. That's how we have some very specific deformities that get passed down, you know, from people to people, right? So when you have those groups of people mixing together, what are they doing? Their DNA is becoming different. So then when you have these people mixing together for hundreds and hundreds of years, and then they become labeled by government as something, as a specific group of people, and then you take a DNA sample from those people, right? And what you're seeing in their DNA is them mixing for hundreds and hundreds of years together, right?
Right.
So that's how, you know, people in America can, you know, you test their DNA and it says, oh, they're Native American. And then you test our DNA and, oh, it goes back to Africa, right? But originally, that DNA could have come from Africa.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that it just appears a little different based on the strands of DNA that they're testing, because that small group that went over to the Americas, that populated with other groups of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Changed that DNA structure. It's not as uniform as it was in the very beginning.
Exactly.
So that's why I say, you know, we have to think about these things very, very critically and look at the timeline.
Yeah, because I would definitely like to see if we had the funding and had the time to test all 50 or 48, whatever the number of African Americans in this country. I would like to see all of us tested, right? I would like to see all of us tested just to see, because so we can have a determination on which folks that can show that we don't have that particular strand coming from certain tribes in West Africa. Correct. Other than that, we're going to be able to find out the truth, because based off what they're telling me, it's like, okay, I can't really see how we're going to be able to definitively come up with an answer for this question, because according to them, we were here first, and everything here is older than everything that's there.
See, and you know, the other thing too is, even with the DNA, it changes. Yep. So for a male, so you have your Y and your X chromosome, right? The man determines what the sex of the baby is going to be. If a man passes an X chromosome, the child is going to be a female. If the man passes a Y chromosome, the child is going to be male.
That's right.
That Y chromosome is passed down from father to son, as long as males are produced. So for a lot of, black men in America, what we call black men in America, that once you get your DNA tested, your Y chromosome could very easily come back as non-African.
Yeah.
Because, when our mothers, got to this place, many of them were raped. Many of them, had children with other ethnic groups. And as long as sons kept being produced from that, you could have been from Africa for 1,000 years. And then once that Chinese man or that white man gets into the mix and impregnates a woman and passes down his Y chromosome, now the DNA test is going to say that you're Caucasian or that you're Chinese, right? Even though for thousands of years you could have been African. So the DNA, even in and of itself, is a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
So you just got to do research.
That's the reason why I said I would like to see all of us tested, because if they're saying that a percentage of us were not slaves, or we wasn't brought over, I should say, a percentage of us did not come over, we were already here. So out of the people that were already here, if we tested everybody, I'm sure it's a few people that was able to avoid race mixing. We had the miscegenation, whatever they call it, laws, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would like to see everybody tested, just to kind of put that question to bed, because that just keeps coming up. I don't understand why it does, but it is. And that's why I was saying, like, we should be looking to change the paradigm right now, because we have a whole system upon us that's operating in the background on autopilot, just grinding people up and spitting them out.
Right.
While we making these big arguments about not leaving, we should stay here. And I'm saying, well, and then it's like, well, there's shithole countries over there. Why would you want to go over there? If you go over there, you're not part of those people culturally, and they're calling you a Bruni and white man and all this. And I said, well, it's because we're ignorant on this end to a degree. They just as ignorant on that end to a degree as well.
I would say to that, in order to become a part of a culture, right, you first must have a presence where the culture exists. Then to further become part of the culture, you want to study the culture, understand the customs of that culture. Then you want to learn how to speak the language of that culture. And that's how you become part. And if you take it further, if you want to take it further, if you're going to these places and you're single, you're unmarried, you want to marry into the culture.
That's right.
Right. And you do all of those things, and then you become part of the culture. So when someone says, calls you a name, you're able to respond to them in the language of the name that they called you. Right. And that requires study. It requires all the things that I just previously mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry so much about, what people are saying. I mean, anywhere you go that's not America, if you want to become a part of the culture, you're gonna have to do those things. You move to China, if you go to Brazil, you're gonna need to learn how to speak Portuguese. If you go to Colombia or the Dominican Republic or wherever, and you're staying there for any length of time, you're gonna want to learn to speak the language. You're gonna want to know what the food is. You want to know about the culture so you can fit in. So that's what I would say to that.
And I said to myself, like, to me, that's still a juvenile argument. That still keeps us in the matrix, because technically, I can leave from the west side of Chicago and go to Chinatown and be called names.
Correct. I mean, you can be called names in the west side of Chicago.
Exactly.
I'm in LA. There's people that's calling me names here.
Exactly. So it's like I could be called names, and then you got to go that far. What I'm saying?
Correct.
You can't speak the language. I can go to a little village, and they'll call me all kind of names over there, Negro and all this, right? And I don't know what they're saying because I don't speak Spanish.
But I would say the people who, don't have, people who don't share the same enthusiasm about setting up in the motherland, they're not my adversary at all.
They're not mine
right?
either.
I would just tell them, hey, okay, look, my plan is to leave. Your plan is to stay. Okay, that's fine. It's okay that you stay. But because I love you, I want you to be armed with the knowledge to be able to not just survive, but to thrive in this place. I want you to be armed with the knowledge, to be able to protect yourself in this place. So you stay here, but you still need to develop your skill set. You still need to learn how to climb to the top of the food chain in this society. And the things that I'm telling you right now will help you do that.
Absolutely.
And the things that I'm learning for myself will help, the skills that you develop will help you survive anywhere. Mm-hmm. Being focused and disciplined and doing away with distractions will help you survive anywhere on the planet. And so that's what we need to focus on. Whether we're dealing with a brother from Haiti, dealing with a brother from Jamaica, dealing with brothers that are in Italy, dealing with brothers in Africa, wherever you are, we need to have discipline. We need to study. We need to develop a skill set. And we need to be able to protect ourselves vigorously.
Yes.
In every way possible.
Yes.
And we will be able to survive no matter where we go. And that needs to be our focus. Yeah. Not tearing down our women, not tearing down our men. We need to focus, and we can make things better for ourselves and for all those that we come in contact with.
You know what I think? I agree with you 100%. I think what it really was that they are, it seems like they're kind of fearful that we will go over there and do the things that you just laid out and become economic powerhouses. I think that's the real incentive for all the naysaying, right? And I say to that, well, I don't want to fight with you. If you want to stay here, then fine, because we're part of that heritage as well. We've been here fighting with you. We've been fighting the police. We've been fighting the different ethnic groups that's been coming in and gentrifying the area. So we don't want to throw away that legacy just because we're going into a new land. I say, how about we do global trade since you're going to stay here and you got access to all of the goods and services here? We can exchange.
We could do that very easily. And also, I would say that the pushback that we receive oftentimes is because a lot of us have this desire. It's a pride. It's a stubborn pride. We have this desire in this society. We've been conditioned to want to be right. Yeah. Not righteous, no. Just right in an argument, right in a position, right? That has caused us a lot of trouble. So that's one of the reasons why I don't try to, chastise or correct anyone. This is your life. It's up to you what you do with it, right? Since we interact with each other, and from our interaction, we give and receive. I'm just trying to give, some positive information and maybe receive some positive information from you, that we can both benefit from, right? That's what our interaction should be. And just because you have a right to do something does not mean that it is the right thing to do. Yeah. And we really have to think about that. It's not necessary to argue. Yeah. It's not necessary to argue. I talk to our good brother Dynas all the time, right? That's my brother. And I tell him, the only thing worth offering a problem is a solution. That's it.
Right.
That's it. When we get ready, when you feel that blood pressure start to go up and your heart start beating and you know that vein on the side of your head start popping out and you ready to just show how bad you are, you get down in your pride and your stubbornness, you have to ask yourself, what is the problem and what is the solution? Mm-hmm. And just deal with that. And how can we create a solution to the problem without having unnecessary conflict?
That's right.
Because unnecessary conflict is bad for progress. Yes, it wastes time. It's a distraction.
Yeah, it is.
It's a distraction. When we fighting with each other, that time that we spent fighting with each other, arguing with each other, trying to get our point across, trying to see who could, say the thing that hurts us the most, we could have been coming up with a plan, to build something. We could have been finding a solution to a problem.
Yep.
So again, we have to do away with the distractions, and that requires mental toughness, and it also requires humility.
Yep.
Right? It also requires humility. While we were in Nigeria, I had an American woman. I told you guys about this. I had an American woman insult me, right? For no reason. She thought it was funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself at that very moment, she didn't know what I know. She didn't know my skill set. She didn't know if I was dangerous or not. I could have really caused a problem, in that very situation for that lady and her husband that she was with. But instead, I humbled myself. I didn't say anything. Her and her husband went up the elevator. I went on about my business, and within seconds, it was over.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to start using that as a weapon. Humility,
mm-hmm.
quietness, right? Quietness, silence is a weapon.
Yeah, it is.
Silence is the best weapon that we have that we don't use.
Yeah, yeah.
When we come up with these plans, they don't need to be broadcasted.
No.
So that's just like, not to get off topic.
Okay.
When you go on YouTube, you see all these discussions now about passport bros, right?
Yeah,
Guys going out of the country. There's so many people that are upset with these guys. And in my mind, I say to myself, well, if a person feels like they're underappreciated and they're not getting the things that they want or desire in the geographical location that they're in, and they feel like they're better suited to accomplish their goal in a different geographical location, and once they get there, they accomplish that goal, I don't really see anything wrong with that.
No, me either.
Right? But the problem is that they didn't exercise the power of silence. Everybody knows. Why does everybody know? Why does everybody have to know? If that's your thing, go do it quietly. Does telling everybody about it make the experience better for you, or does going there, having the experience, fulfill you? If you didn't say anything about it and nobody knew, then you wouldn't be receiving all of this resistance from people who don't agree with you. And I'm not picking on these guys at all. I say that to say there's power in silence. Everybody doesn't need to know everything that you're doing. Everybody doesn't need to know what your agenda is. Just be quiet, get it done, and keep it moving. Simple as that. Yeah, and you'll have greater success by doing things quietly, because once you open your mouth, there's going to be people who, try to hamper your development.
Sabotage.
Yeah, people that think you're perfect, people that try to sabotage your progress or development. But if you don't say anything, if they can't see you, don't know what you're doing, then they can't do nothing to you. It's very hard to hit a moving target.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
So that's something that I think many of us can benefit from. Just be quiet.
What does it say down here? Everything we always brought. Yeah, I mean, we broadcasted, but it ain't like we doing something West Coast that's anything different than what we did in the past. Because what I brought up in that live stream yesterday was the fact that black men been fighting in every war for this USA, and every place we went, we've created little caverns of us. So you go overseas, it's some us everywhere. So it ain't like this is something new. We actually been doing this. You can go anywhere in the world and find remnants of our culture and remnants of us there.
That's correct.
It is.
That's correct. You're absolutely right about that.
Just what it is. I mean, you go to Germany, you could go to any of the islands, anywhere where American bases at, you've had American GIs, Black Americans there, and they live there. They get out of the service. They marry. So we all over the world anyway. We've already been passporting and all that. So to me, it's nothing new. Maybe some of these newer folks they just learning about it, but it's actually old. You know, you know.
You're right about that. It's not anything new. The only difference is that the men that did it, 20, 30, 40 years ago, they didn't have YouTube. They didn't have the internet.
They didn't have Facebook.
They didn't have Facebook. And we have to be very, very careful about our movements, with this social media. This social media is a very powerful thing in the sense that human beings change from day to day, from minute to minute, from moment to moment. We're constantly evolving or devolving, right? Constantly.
Right.
So you can, with this social media, you can say something in the heat of the moment today, and then within 30 seconds, you don't feel that way anymore. But the social media captures what you says. And one of the instruments of the adversary is to constantly remind you of the bad thing that you did.
Yeah.
Right. Look at how they did Mike Vick and these dogs. Even to today, when his name is mentioned, his name can't be mentioned without the dog fighting. Yep. It wasn't that big of a thing. But the way that this technology is today, they take what you say and they hold it against you for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. So because this type of technology exists, that's why it's even more important now to use the tool of silence, our weapon of silence.
I agree.
Right. So the things that come out of our mouth can't be used against us later. Should we, find some type of religious inspiration that changes us from the inside out, or read a book that changes our mind and helps us grow, or getting into a relationship that makes us different, or have an experience that changes our opinion, right? You can become a different person, right? But this media won't let you forget.
Nah.
Won't let you forget.
Nah, they won't.
So just be quiet, right? As much as you can.
He said, go with opportunities and more. Yeah. Well, my thing is, like I say, at this point, this is not a new movement. We've been going back to Africa. I was hearing a lot of stuff on there saying that, we're like there's none of us in Africa as of presently. And I'm like, I don't understand these arguments. So that's why I think folks just really want us to go and fail is what it seems like to me, because it's literally thousands of quote unquote Black Americans living in Africa, been there for over 30, 40 years. Very successful, doing great things. And they, like you said, they using the power of silence. You don't really know much about them. They got certain organizations that you can join so you can kind of be around them, but they just quietly doing their thing, and they're very successful. And we want to be a part of that collective. That's all it is.
That's all it is. That's all it is. And for the people who, like I said, for the people who choose to remain here, I wish you the absolute best. I hope that if you are not in a great position here now, that you develop the skills that you need in order to improve your position in this country, because there is a lot of wealth, that can be had in this country if your focus is right. If you get rid of your debt. I think in America, one of the things that I like about Africa that's different than American society is the debt process. Like, you see when you go to different countries in Africa, you see all these buildings that are like partially built, homes that are partially built. So when you're an American and you're coming through and you see this, the average American will say, man, why isn't this stuff complete? What's going on here? All these, half-built buildings. But what they fail to realize is that the African way of building is that they build with cash. So by the time their property is completely built, it's already paid for.
Yes.
They don't have debt attached to it. They don't have a mortgage for 30 years attached to it, where you're going to pay double what the house or what the property was sold for by the time you're done paying for it in interest. So That's one of the things that I do like about how African society moves, right? They limit their debts. Whereas here in America, we can actually take a page. If you're going to stay here in America, take a page from that African playbook and limit your debts. Credit cards, get rid of them. So I won't tell you to close the accounts, but I will say just pay all the accounts off, right? If you can. If you have a big fat whopper mortgage somewhere, if it's in your, if you're able, then I would say, find a piece of property somewhere else in the United States that you could pay cash for. And this is coming from a person who has purchased homes for as little as $4,800, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in Atlanta, back in like 2000. I guess I was like 2011 or 2012, right? But there's still properties in that price point all over the United States. I have a few of them myself, and you can do it too, right? And so that way, if you decide, hey, I'm tired of having this debt, I don't want to carry it anymore, I can go live in this property that's paid for, leapfrog 30 years ahead of everybody else who has a mortgage. And now, your homes are paid for. If you take a weekend course and get a wholesale dealer's license and become a auto wholesale dealer, you can get into wholesale auctions and you can buy your cars and pay cash for those. So now you have no credit card debt, your car is paid for, and your home is paid for. So that means whatever money you're bringing in, you can save more of it to invest, and you don't have to have the pressure of this debt system weighing us down.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly, because really a lot of folks are not ready. They're not, it's so much, like you said, so much debt here. That's the reason why we so busy fighting amongst each other, because you got all these creditors just waiting over you like a hawk.
Correct. And correct, and it's very predatory. When you're getting credit cards that have 35% interest, a 35% APR or 29% APR, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Right? You go to a credit union, you might get 12%. But to me, even that's much better than the others. But even to me, that's high. Why give anybody free money like that? Just to say I have a line of credit. To me,
that's the American
it's ridiculous.
Way. That's the American way.
And so that's why I say, even though we are, when people say that, this system is a juggernaut, it is. I wouldn't say that the person is wrong, but how are you functioning in the system? Are you really benefiting, or are you in a position where the system is just eating from you, just taking bits and pieces of your body? Or are you really benefiting? And that's something that only you can answer yourself, because only you know your situation. But to me,
most people are not. I would probably say most people are not.
Most people are not. But that's not, I can't say that for a fact. I mean, you can look at different reports on society, and you can see that the debt load is very high. But I don't want to make that assumption when dealing with people, But I will say the best position to be in here in America is in a debt-free position. Have all the things that you want, but have them debt-free. So that way you can live a life of less risk and less stress.
Yes.
And that would be my advice for people that are planning to leave and go to Africa, and for people that are planning to stay here. Whatever you do, get rid of the debt as soon as possible.
You're right. That's a great idea, because you remember I came from a real estate background as well, and so when I was doing it many years ago, pretty much everybody that came to me was just up to here in debt.
Yeah.
I mean, I had maybe one out of the 6 years or whatever, so I was really doing that heavy, and that's all I was doing. I might have had maybe one or two people to come to me that was not a problem. And one of them was black, and one of them was white.
So, you start from where you are. Any words that come out of my mouth, I want them to be encouraging, So you start where you are, right? Everything may not be perfect, but you can course correct the moment you choose. You make that decision to course correct, and I would say start with getting rid of that debt. Study more, things that you're curious about that you don't know about. Go get a book. If you can't find a teacher, a counselor, go get a book and start learning about the different things that you want to know about.
YouTube University.
YouTube University is a perfect place to start, right? For men, any men that are watching this show or may come across it in the future, if you're not an electrician, just go learn what it takes to become one, right? Look for a trade school in your area where you can learn plumbing, learn electrical, learn HVAC, learn carpentry, right? Learn those things because they will benefit you anywhere you go. Learn to be an auto technician, learn to be a diesel mechanic, learn auto body and paint, right? Learn these things. These are skills that people pay for. Learn agriculture, learn horticulture, right? These are different things that we can learn. Learn IT, right? And most of this stuff you can accomplish within 18 months.
Yes.
18 months.
Yes.
Most of these places have day programs, night programs, online programs. So all you have to do is apply yourself. I would encourage you to look into IBEW. It stands for International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Those are unions. You can go through unions basically for free, and they pay you. So a union, you basically start off as an apprentice, and you work your way up to journeyman. Depending on what union you are, it may take 4 or 5 years. But during that time, you're working. And in addition to, you're working and being paid, and then you go to school maybe once a week or once every other week. And you do that for 5 years. When you're done, you get your journeyman card, and that thing is as good as gold. Yes, whether you're an electrician, a pipe fitter, a plumber. So just apply yourself. Just apply yourself.
I agree 100% because, I'm in the trucking field, so I have to deal with a lot of these guys. Electricians, pipe fitters, plumbers, because I deliver chemicals, so I deliver to all kind of places. One of the places that I just delivered to was what made me think about you was a water treatment place. I went, and when I went, they were shocked to see me. They were like, so it was in Indiana, and I was delivering glycol.
Bleach? Okay. Okay.
They had glycol in their system, and it had been there for like 25 years.
Wow.
So when they drained it out, but I said, well, did y'all drain it? He was like, yes, it's in these totes over here, right? So I'm looking at the totes. I'm like, glycol is pink. I had the dye kind. So the kind is pink. So I'm thinking to myself, like, that is like, it looks like mud. He's like, yeah, that's what we took out of there.
Wow.
Look, the boiler was shaking so bad that it came up off the fountain. They usually sit on a concrete block. Be like that thick. And they have it on rails. And it had shook away from the attachment.
From the rails? Yeah. From the concrete?
And it was almost falling off the concrete. I said, that's because this is what y'all had in there. And then somebody had the bright idea to change the glycol out, and that's the reason why I was there. Now they only got a half a load, and so they had to get pipe fitters to come in to do that work. And they are the ones who purchased the container of glycol for me to come out there. So when I'm talking to them, right, and I was just like, man, it's amazing how many of these that I've been doing lately. I've been doing fire stations, I've been doing hospitals, schools, and now I'm doing water treatment. It's like, but it's good on my part because it only took a half a load, but they got to for a full load. Do you know that's just crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. But I'm loving the fact that I get to kick it with a lot of these journeyman guys that you talked about. And of course, while we standing there, it takes about 2 hours to offload a tanker. So while we're sitting there, we're going to talk. And most of those guys are around my age or maybe a little bit older, or some of them I'm a few years older than. And so we all talk about the same things as far as, investments, retirement, the way things are going in this economy, the changes. These are the conversations that all people should be having right now, given the fact that what we're dealing with and what we see across the boob tube every day. So in our mind, at least in my mind, going over there, we have a whole lot of advantages. Whole lot. And my thing is, once you get your land, once you drill for your water source, and once you have your electrical, as far as solar or whatever you're going to use, you pretty much living for free.
Correct.
Okay, the taxes are basically non-existent. You got access to grow your own food. You got access to your own water. I mean, it's like, to me, I don't understand what folks are talking about, why it's so bad. It's just that you can't go over there with no credit system in your mind. You have to use cash, like you talked about before. So that's why I chose to make that move over there.
And that's why it's really important for us, whether we stay here in America or not, to not have that, to not carry any debt, but to have investments in this country that we make money off of. So while we're, so pause for the people who want to go and set up shop in Africa, it would be very good to have a lump sum and then also to have money to invest and to live off of while you're there.
Yeah, cash flow,
right? And for the people here, it's good for you to have the same thing, zero debt, and have either a business here or have some type of rental income or passive income for you to be able to save and live off of in America.
You still gotta have cash flow. Either way, we gotta have cash flow. If you don't, then that's when you look at the point of inflation eating up all your money, because I don't think we're gonna get away from it anytime soon.
No, and I mean, in this idea of inflation, again, when you talk about how well this system is put together, inflation, we're intelligent enough when we apply ourselves and we're focused and disciplined to create a separate system, a separate economic system that can completely bypass the concept of inflation. Completely. You look at the things that we consume, right? Look at the things that we need in order to survive. Figure out how to put a plan together and figure out how to manufacture those things, how to produce and provide those things. Figure out how we're going to trade those things amongst each other and completely bypass inflation. I go to the grocery store, right? And, grocery prices have gone through the roof, right?
Yeah.
But if you were a farmer, so say, we're in Africa, we're growing all of this stuff, the cost of food doesn't mean anything to us there.
No.
Right? If we're growing our own stuff. Same thing here. If you are have a piece of land here and you're growing the things that you consume. Now, you may have to limit the variety of things that you consume, but, you come up with the core things that you just, can produce that could provide enough for you and your household, and you eat that every day, right? Every single day. Food prices won't matter as much to you, right? The cost of goods, right? So another thing you could start studying is learning how to operate a loom, learning about fabrics, right? Not just how to go and buy pre-assembled fabrics. You take cotton from Mississippi, Alabama, and Texas, raw cotton that's grown in these places, send it over to China, Indonesia, and all these places to have it assembled, have it sent all the way back to America and then sold to us. We can really bypass all of that. We grow our own fabrics, grow our own raw material, process that raw material, which by processing that raw material, we're creating an economy because we're able to produce jobs for people, right? Assemble all of that stuff, open up our own distribution centers, and then sell those items to our people here. bypassing this concept of inflation. So we have to understand exactly, we're operating in a system that was not designed for us, for our best interests,
No.
but we can create our own system within this system and outside of this system, where we don't have to suffer when greed comes in and these companies say, hey, I need to make more money off the people. So I'm going to come up with a word called inflation. I'm going to raise all of the prices on everybody. And because y'all got to have that steak, y'all got to have that juice, y'all got to have them Dorito chips, that was $1 for a bag yesterday. Now they're $5 today, right? You don't have to play that game, right? We can say, no, our prices are going to stay uniform and we're going to provide for all of our people, period.
Exactly.
But in order to do that, you can't be distracted.
Yeah, the distractions, man, because they willing to pay trillions to distract you.
Yeah, no doubt. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Sports, the entertainment, the all of the sitcoms, all of the comedy specials, all that's designed to distract you from and get you off your purpose, right? And basically confuse you.
Correct.
So a lot of folks are falling for it. That's why I say it's a good thing for folks to at least start out trying to at least find out what your DNA is. That would be the first place I would say start. And then book a trip. Folks like, all y'all want to do is tourism. Well, first we got to get people motivated enough to get off the couch, to get on a plane, to actually go to visit. You just can't expect folks to just pack up and then just go over there. No, you start out by visiting. You might want to do 2 or 3 different countries before you come up with one that you feel comfortable with if it's not in alignment with your DNA.
That's correct.
You think that's
correct?
Fair?
I agree 100% with that. I agree 100%. I would say my advice would be start working on the debt. Write down all of your debt. See where you can start kind of cutting back to pay them off. You don't necessarily have to close the accounts, but I would definitely shred the cards, cut them up, shred them, get rid of them. Any other debts that you have, try to just get out of the debt cycle, because that debt is a major distraction in and of itself.
Yeah.
When you go to work, I mean, just the concept of going to work, and then most people get paid twice a month, every 2 weeks. And one of your whole checks has to go towards paying your living expense. That transaction is a financial distraction.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're using your labor to generate money, and then you're taking the money that your labor generated, and then you're giving it to someone else for 30 years or, for a year if you're renting and all of this stuff. That in and of itself is a distraction, right? It's a financial distraction when you could be using your labor to save all of that money, to build a lifestyle for yourself, where you don't have to go, and work a job, right? So I would say start with the debt, start getting rid of that. That's something that people can do, whether or not their minds are to stay in America or to go to Africa. If you're curious about going to Africa, then I would say start working on your debt, because you're going to need money to travel. It costs.
Yeah.
It costs.
It's not cheap.
It's not cheap. Start working on your debts, and then do what my good brother said, and take a DNA test through African ancestry.
Yeah.
Right. So you can at least have an idea of where you may come from, where you line up, where you may want to go, et cetera, right? And then go from there.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So now we kind of talked about some of the things that would help us escape the matrix trap that they have set for us. We kind of went over that, and you did a very good job at kind of laying things out.
Thank you.
So let's talk about our trip. So how you feel? Because you've been there a couple times now. I've only been there once, so I haven't really told the people yet. But it's my first broadcast back on here since I got back. So you've been there a couple times. Kind of lay out the what they call it, the 35,000 foot view looking down on Nigeria. What you think?
All right. So I can only be honest.
Yeah, be honest. Be honest.
I can only be honest.
We don't want to deceive the people. We want people to know based off of our experience if they decide to go there, so they can have a realistic viewpoint on what they're getting themselves into and what they will see there.
So Raken and I just came back from Nigeria with our good brother Search for Yahoo, brother Dynas Amir. I would say that Nigeria is not America.
No.
It's not America. So if you're going to travel to Africa in general and you don't already have a humble spirit, start practicing now. If you need to, whatever you need to do to humble yourself, humble yourself. All right. You need to go with an open mind. You're going from a developed country to a developing country, and you're seeing, what that looks like firsthand. In Nigeria, first of all, Nigeria is a huge country, so you're not going to see the entire country.
No.
If you're in the Southwest, you're going to be around Yorubas primarily. If you're in the Southeast, you're going to be around Igbos. If you're in the North, you're going to be around Hausas and Fulanis. If you're in other parts, you have other kind of like minority tribal groups that are mixed in, Benin, Delta, and many others. So Nigeria, we landed in Lagos, and we spent the majority of our time in Osun State. One thing that would shock a first timer is the traffic and the way that people drive. They do not drive like Americans.
No.
They drive on the same side of the street, meaning their steering wheel is on the left-hand side like ours is, but that's about it. And they drive on roads, but that's about it. The way that they drive, I say the way that they drive is very informing on the mentality of the people, right? How they, like their driving is very aggressive. And, you meet people that are very, very nice, but you know that they have a very aggressive side to them based on the way that they drive. Stop lights, stop signs, forget it. Everybody's blowing the horn, and, and that's just how it is. If you're going to go down there, you better get you a local driver. I would not get behind. I would not advise you get behind the wheel of a vehicle at all, not even on your best day. There are some very nice locations, very nice housing developments. There are some really nice hotels in Lagos. In Osun State, we stayed at a very nice hotel. The Laim is what it was called. It was nice.
Yes, it was nice.
Very nice. I find the people to be very humble, very kind. When you kind of meet them face to face, all the people that we interfaced with at the hotel, they were really nice locals. We went to art galleries. They were really nice. We went into the villages. Those people were quality people. They were very kind. But like anywhere else, you have all types of personalities. You find people that are very welcoming. You find some people that are kind of indifferent. And then you find some people that probably don't like you very much. And that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I think it's good to go in a tour group because, it's kind of hard to make 10, 15, 20 people disappear, right? To me, you're a bit safer if you go in a big group.
I agree.
I would say whatever country you choose to go to, start doing some research on the country, look at the political system, check to see if there's any civil or political unrest, because that happens particularly around election time.
Exactly.
People start set tripping out there. They just, and I can't, and that's not a criticism. That's just, out here, Yeah, same thing here. Out here during election time, we was in the streets protesting, burning stuff down. Well, not we. I did not do that.
Me either.
I wasn't burning down nothing. I was at work. Uh, so just in case if 30 years later somebody finds this video and tries to say, "Oh, he said we," no,
Nah, we were
correction.
we're
I
part of
was at
that
work.
working class.
Correct. So, but it's cool. You know, you see some stuff that can be improved upon.
Yes.
I would say just take it all in. You know, take it all in. Don't be too judgmental. Go there with an open mind, and understand that these countries are not America, and you want to show the people respect. You want to be very respectful. One thing that I would advise is don't be critical, right? Watch your mouth. Again, that silence weapon. Watch your mouth, right? Don't go to a place and then, because in Nigeria, people speak English. So, in addition to their tribal languages. So I would not go there. And if you see something that you dislike, don't, start criticizing what it is that you see that you don't like. Don't let your sentence start with, "Oh, in America, this would never." I mean, do not do that. It's very disrespectful.
Don't do that in Nigeria, no.
Don't do that anywhere you go.
Yeah, anywhere
you go. Outside of America, you keep your opinions to yourself, right? Because people hear what you're saying and they understand what you're saying. And you can't think that, hey, I'm this big bad American. I'm gonna go into here, I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. And then when the people hear that and they take offense to it, and then they're not nice to you, then you come back and say, "Oh, these people are not nice." No, you disrespected them. Exactly. How nice would you be if someone came into your house and said, "Man, your house stinks," right? Your mom, you prepare a meal for somebody and you say, "Man, your mama can't cook. She just, this fried chicken she made was hard as a brick." You would not be happy about that. So again, I urge you to just be humble, right? Watch what you say. You may see some things that you don't like they have open sewers, right? Yeah. Open sewers, meaning like in America, our sewers are covered. They're subsurface, they're underground. You may see a gutter, going down into some pipes, way underground that's going to the wastewater treatment plant, right? But in Nigeria, there's some portions of the country that are, where the sewers are open, meaning you could see right down into them. And that may shock you, but you keep your shock and awe to yourself, right? Wait until you get home, write it in a diary and leave it there. Okay. There's a lot of opportunity, so there's a lot of opportunity in all of these countries, to be honest with you. A lot of opportunity to partner with local people. And I say that very cautiously. Don't send your money to nobody. Ever. Not even if they're American and over there. Don't think that you're going to do some kind of project in Africa and somebody else is going to build it for you. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
If you want to build something, like I tell my brother Dinas, if you want to build anything, you need to make sure you have the time to be there from beginning of the project to the end. If you don't have that kind of time, don't do it.
Yeah.
But Nigeria was cool. I mean, you saw a lot of, this was my second trip. This trip was better than the first because, we're about improvement, and Brother Dinas, made some improvements. We had better transportation. We had armed guards. We had, we had good stuff, and we'll continue to improve. There were a lot of cultural performances. The food, food was all right. I'll just put it, the food was okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I looked ahead and I packed a suitcase full of snacks for everybody on the trip, just in case.
Thank you for that too.
Hey, and then I got sick. I ate some local food and got sick. Brother Rakim saved me, man. He got me some powdered activated charcoal that fixed me right on up. So thank you for that, my brother. I won't forget that.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but From what I hear, the Oshun Festival was excellent. I missed it because I was at the hotel sick. But it's definitely worth exploring. I would say all of the countries are worth exploring. Um, I don't have anything negative to say about any of them. You know, if you have that curiosity, there's 54 countries, man, just throw a dart at the map and go.
Yeah.
Or do your DNA test, see where you're from, and then go.
I agree
You know,
100%. If I had to assess it, it was my first trip going to Nigeria, and I would agree with most of your assessment. Um, it's a very large country. The infrastructure was not to not to my liking. I felt that the infrastructure should have been a lot better. But I get it. You know, every country has its problems with infrastructure. I just expected by Nigeria being so huge and the number of people that the infrastructure would have been a little bit better. So I know they need to work definitely on their infrastructure. As far as the traffic, yeah, the traffic was atrocious. It's probably the worst traffic I've ever seen out of all the places I've been. And y'all know I've been all over the world. And I definitely wouldn't advise driving in it myself, even though I'm a professional driver. I wouldn't do it. I would definitely get me a driver, and I would get one that has some, some gumption about them because you definitely gotta be aggressive there with the driving. As far as the people go, the people, the overall um, hospitality, I would give them, probably a C plus. Um, the people who would wait on you in certain capacities, those folks were very nice. I at this particular vacation, I lost my luggage or misplaced my luggage or they misplaced my luggage, however you want to say it. And so I've only had like two outfits to kind of swap in and out for most of the trip. And so the staff, once I let them know and informed them what was going on, they were very accommodating, especially the guy in the laundry. So shout out to Paul, brother Paul in the laundry there in Nigeria at the Lyman Hotel because he was on point. He had my stuff pressed and ready, even though they had those two outfits. Brother man took care of me, and I made sure I took care of him. The people in general is kind of like, I guess there's so many of them that they just kind of just, they see another person, they just kind of keep going. You go to more smaller countries, most people are really hospitable and they speak when they pass you on the road or at least acknowledge you. You seem like you go to Nigeria, folks kind of look at you and just kind of keep going. It reminds me sort of New York, the New Yorkers kind of mentality where you just see somebody just keep going, you don't even speak, as opposed to if you go down south to Alabama or Mississippi, everybody waves to you. You could be riding down the street, I see all guys waving at me and all that. So that's one thing I did notice. The cars were, I really didn't see too many luxury cars because the infrastructure is terrible. So most of the cars are mostly older vehicles. The food, y'all know I'm a vegetarian, so it was kind of difficult for me to find food for myself. But as far as the jollof rice was pretty good, and it seemed like everybody else was enjoying their food, so they could do a lot. And then we didn't really go to a lot of places. I saw Domino's, we saw Kentucky Fried Chicken, stuff like that. So that was okay. But hotels, I give it maybe a B, B minus, B plus, somewhere in there. Um, scenery. The scenery is kind of just because there's so many people. Um, it's not as open. Like if you go to Sierra Leone and you ride throughout the countryside, it's not populated at all. So it's all scenery. You could just kind of lose yourself and start dreaming and imagining. You in Nigeria, you necessarily can't do it because all that space is available. I mean, somebody's on that space. So that's one thing I noticed. The weather, I guess, because we went there during the rainy season. So it rained or was cloudy or drizzling pretty much every day we were there. Um, So that was kind of iffy. I didn't really think about the weather when I booked the trip because my goal was just to get Nigeria off of my bucket list because it's always been on my bucket list. But overall, it was a nice experience. I'm glad I went, but I'm more partial to Sierra Leone, Ghana, and if I had to give a third place, would probably be the Gambia out of my three picks so far. But I would definitely go again. The festival was nice. Too many people though. Lord have mercy. You probably dodged the bullet, Jack, because man, it literally seemed like 50,000 people were there. It might not have been 50,000, but it seemed like it. And we had to trudge through all the people. Oh my God. And it rained the day before and a little bit earlier that day. So, and it's kind of like a fairground setup. So you can imagine the mud and the water and oh my God, the bugs was a little bit much, but overall, people were very festive. Man, they brought out their best cultural dress, so everybody was dressed like mwah. The outfits was impeccable. People had their best hairstyles. They had their makeup on. They had their best outfits, and they was really taking in the festival. So the festival part of it was very nice. Um, we stayed maybe halfway through, and then we cut it short. But overall, yeah, it was a very good experience. I would definitely go again. But like I said, out of my top three, it would be Sierra Leone, Ghana, and the Gambia. That's kind of my assessment of the trip.
I mean, I think that's very honest. Yeah. Based on your experience, I would say that for anyone that's looking to go, just manage your expectations.
Yes.
And be sure that you understand what you're going there for. Like if you go as in a tour group, make sure that you examine the itinerary, talk to the tour group leader, and get a very clear understanding of what it's going to be like on the ground. So if you're an individual that says, hey, I like upscale, super duper fly, 5-star hotels, I want to go to parties, I want to do this and that, make sure that you're paying for that experience and not something else. Because there's people come to these different countries for different things. Some people come for spiritual purposes. True. And so you're getting into that, like, in all throughout Central and South America, Brazil, all over, people practice Yoruba, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's, Raquel's not lying. I mean, there were tons, hotels sold out, people coming for the Ocean Festival. But that may not be your thing. And if it's not your thing, you don't want to come on a tour where that's the highlight of the tour. Exactly. So you want to make sure you manage your expectations very well. Because if you get on a tour and you neglected the itinerary, and then you get there and things are not what you thought they were going to be, don't blame the tour guide because you didn't do your due diligence. Understand what you're going there for. And if the tour guide, if your expectations don't match the tour guide's itinerary, then look for some other options. Yes. Right. And that's as honest as I can be about that. I've been to 6 different African countries. I've been to Senegal. I've been to Morocco, Egypt, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. And I would say the best food that I had was in Senegal. The best time that I had was in Sierra Leone. And I had a really good time in Senegal too. But there's so many different countries. Just get your passport and get to it, right? And in terms of Nigeria, what I will say about Nigeria is a huge country with many, many states, and we only were in 2 of them. So I can't give a complete opinion. my opinion about Nigeria is incomplete because
Yeah.
I've only been to 2 states. I
That's
haven't
why,
been.
that's why I said I would go back because
I would go back too because I would like to see Abuja.
yeah,
You know, I would like to see Abuja. I'd like to see some of the Igbo states. I mean, I'd like to see more of the country in general. But it's definitely worth going to. And I think there are some, high quality people there that you can develop, good friendships with. Um, as long as you show yourself to be friendly. There are some hustlers. Since it's a developing country, you see poverty in different places. I mean, like in most African countries, the middle class doesn't really exist like it does here in America. You either have like, based on what I've seen, you have the super rich or kind of like super poor.
yeah,
So it's a culture that is okay with, asking for stuff and expecting stuff, and I know Nigerian people here in America, and, whenever they go back home, they're expected to give, give a little more, give,
and give
right?
some more.
And give some more. That's the expectation. And I'm not criticizing the, the culture or, the social norms of that country or the continent in general. That's just what it is. So as an American, when you come there in America, asking for stuff is kind of like frowned upon here.
Yeah, it is.
Like people say that they're not selfish, but for the most part, we're pretty selfish. We're pretty selfish.
Here we are.
We're pretty selfish. So when you get there, it may be shocking to you when you get to the airport, someone's asking for something. When you get to the taxi, someone's asking for something. When you get to the village, someone's asking for something. That's just how it is. So my workaround is, just get the smallest denomination of currency you can, and just give that.
Yeah.
Don't get offended by it. Just be prepared to pay. And normally you can, it's something that you can typically afford to give away. That's just how it is. I wouldn't even try to fight it. Don't get mad about it. Don't argue. Don't get an attitude. If the police pull you over and they say, you got something for me? You got some small?
Yeah, I got something for you.
Give them some small. Give them some small and keep it moving. Right?
Yeah.
So
exactly how you do, because on the way leaving, I had on my Chicago Cubs fatigue hat. And so I'm coming through the airport. I said, well, maybe they're not going to pay no attention to it. Sure enough, when I put my bags up on the conveyor belt to go through the x-ray machine, they was like, yeah, you come in. I'm like, what? Is it a problem with my bags? Or what's the problem? It was like, were you? All right, I didn't even think about it at the time they was asking me that question. They say, were you in the Army? I was like, huh? No, I'm from. And they were like, where you from? Because I guess they thought I was Nigerian at first. So
I can see that.
Yeah, when I started telling them, like, nah, I'm from America. I'm from Chicago, actually. So the lady was like, Chicago? Like, yeah, Chicago in America. She's like, oh. So were you in the Army? I'm like, nah, that's just I turned it around because I had it backwards. I turned it around. I said, nah, that's C. It stands for Chicago Cubs. It's a sports team. She was like, oh, okay, I see. So I think you should buy me coffee. I say, you know what? Do you take cream and sugar?
Hey, you know what? That was an appropriate response.
You see what I mean? I smiled. So you take cream and sugar? Then she was like, yeah. I say, well, come on then. Come on, I'll give you the sugar early.
Huh.
Got her to laughing, got all the other guys to laugh, and reached in my pocket. I had about maybe, I forgot how many naira I had left. I said, I ain't got much left, but here, go get you some coffee and get these guys some coffee too. And I put it in one of the guys' hand, turned around, grabbed my bags, didn't give him a chance to say nothing else. To the rest of the airport shuffle, as I call it.
And you adapted to the social norms very well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. You made it home. Made it back to Chicago, the United States, as you say. I've been checking some of your videos, so You know, I'm getting the lingo. I'm getting the lingo. So you made it back to the United Snakes.
Yeah, where you get that verbiage from?
Yeah, I got it. I got it from you. I heard you, and I heard brother Rick over there in the Gambia. I heard him mention that too. I said, "Oh,
Yeah,
that must be a Chicago thing."
yeah,
So, let me get hip to the lingo.
yeah. We call it the divided snakes.
The divided snakes
of America.
Divided snakes. Okay. Got it.
That's a fitting name considering we were definitely based on red and blue, right?
Right.
So definitely divided.
Right.
And we know this system is definitely a deep demonic system, which is the representation of the snake. So there you go.
There you go. Yes, sir.
So anybody got any questions before we let this brother go? We get him some rest. I'm gonna get me some rest so I can shut out in the morning. Since we got a good brother that's been plenty places, and he's been to places I haven't been, and I've been to a few places he hasn't been. So if you got any questions, the few people we got left, here's your time. Here's your time to ask. In the meantime, what's your next country? I'll wait for them to formulate their question. What's your next country on your bucket list?
You know what? I don't know, man. There's so many. So I've been to 6. So that means there's 48 more I need to go see.
Well,
you know,
I think we should really be focused on the northern countries up there where all the Arabs are, because they're not really like us.
Yeah, I would say we were talking. So during the trip, we were discussing Tanzania or Tanzania.
Yeah.
We were discussing Kenya. I'd like to see Namibia and South Africa. I'd like to go to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire. I mean, there's so many, Guinea-Bissau. There's so many different places that you can go. I would like to go back to Ethiopia, maybe see Eritrea. I like to go to Sudan. I like to go to Somalia. I'd like to see these places.
You want to hit the whole coast.
Man, Rwanda is at the very top of my bucket list, and Uganda too.
Well,
I want to see those places.
I talked to Bo Money day before yesterday on the phone, and he is putting together a trip to go to Rwanda.
Yeah, I talked to Bomani. I gotta holler at him, man, because we discussed, the project in Ghana, possibly investing there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we discussed, me possibly traveling with him somewhere. But I had the traveling with Dynas scheduled, so I wasn't able to go with Bomani. So I'm gonna have to get with him because I like Bomani. Bomani, he's a very down to earth, good brother. I like him a lot. So I would like to patronize his business and take a trip with him.
I figure like if we're gonna go there, that would be the person to go with, because I mean he's catering to what people are saying, and so a lot of folks have been saying they want to go there. So he's thinking of booking a trip and going there early 2024. But on the 2023 schedule, the country I want to go to is Liberia with him.
So you're gonna go to Liberia with him?
Go to Liberia with him, and then 2024 I'm gonna go to Rwanda with him.
All right. Well, maybe I'm not gonna make any promises because I got some stuff in the pipeline, but I might be able to do Liberia.
Yeah, Liberia is I think June. I think it's somewhere in June, the middle of June, the first part of June of 2023.
It's enough time for me because I'm doing a renovation on a project in Ohio. And I got some projects in Baltimore that need to be finished, some properties. So I gotta buckle down. I can't be distracted. I gotta focus and get them done so I can get this passive income coming in from these properties. Because the only way that I can do anything in Africa is, like I have my specific numbers, and I need to have about 250,000 cash on hand. I would like to be making about 10 to 15,000 a month in passive income, and then have zero debt. Everybody doesn't need that. And you really to just go to Africa and survive, if you're making 1,000, 2,000 a month, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
But for me, my ideas and my plans are capital intensive, right? So I need to make that kind of money. When you're talking about building, a small water treatment facility, when you're talking about building food processing factories or plants, drink processing plants. I looked at doing a business where we treat water and then make bagged ice, right? Ice is something that is kind of hard to get in some of these African countries.
It's literally a luxury.
It's a luxury. But if like I said, you go and learn HVAC, learn about refrigeration repair, right? Not just installing air conditioning systems, but learn about all HVAC, and you purchase the necessary equipment to be able to start generating ice and selling bagged ice. You'll make a killing. Because like when we're driving on the street, everybody's doing business. Like if you imagine your block and every single neighbor that you have has a business, but most of them are selling like sodas or drinks that are warm, water that is warm. Yeah. So if you have the business where you're able to sell bags of ice, you're able to sell ice coolers, you're able to sell cold water, cold drinks, etc., you'll corner the market and you'll become very, 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 very wealthy.
Yeah, you will.
So
yeah, you will. And we talked about that too on the trip.
Correct. Yes, we did.
We talked about that. And
yes, we did.
We talked about that. We need to really, because none of the African nations really have a affinity for ice. They just don't.
Correct. I mean, and if you can provide it consistently, you'll be the man or woman. You'll
like you said, at HVC, they don't really do no real maintenance and to maintain their freezers. A lot of that stuff you could go into an establishment and buy lukewarm or cold drinks.
Correct.
And I be thinking like we should be getting a discount. This stuff is warm.
Correct.
They got to sit in a cooler. The cooler look all pristine. It looks nice. The cooler looks nice. Then you open it up like, well, this stuff ain't even cold. What did you do it?
I mean, even if you wanted to build a facility where you kept frozen or refrigerated meat products and stored them for people.
Yeah, cold storage.
Or had a distribution center, cold storage. Yeah. Right? That's huge. That would be huge there. Yeah, there's so much, and that's why I say instead of us, spending our time doing some of the unprogressive things that we're doing, man, we can study and come up with game plans, develop our skill set, and get to it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%, man. I agree 100%. And that's basically what we're doing. We've just been kind of narrowing it down through travel to which countries we want to do this in. And like I said, I'm picking mine, which is going to be Sierra Leone and Ghana, and then I'm gonna swing back around to the Gambia and do some things with Rickman, because like I said, me and Rick went to high school together. So I want to do some stuff in the Gambia. Once I get the other two projects up and going. Like I said, real estate is what I'm looking at on both those countries. Of course, farming, maybe some restaurants is what I'm thinking, and then from there, sky's the limit. So,
man, if you go to Senegal, Nigeria, really anywhere where there's an African American presence at all, and you just say you open up a place called the African American Eatery, and all you serve is breakfast. I'm talking like,
Clean up.
Oh my God, you'll kill them. Omelets, waffles.
They got breakfast there, but it ain't on the same par that we are accustomed to.
It is not the same. It is not the same. And if you go there and you open up a place like that and you serve breakfast the way that we serve it here in the United States, man, your line will be out the door.
Yeah, it would.
Around the corner.
If we open up a Chicago, I'll eat meat, but whatever. Chicken and waffles. Oh my God, we got chicken and waffle be off the chain.
It's over because they got like a Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's not that. It was all right. It's not that great. It was okay. But the franchises that they have there from America are so-so. So if you go there and you open up your own.
Yeah, because they have all the ingredients. They just don't put them together in the same combinations that we do.
Correct.
Yeah, so they still have eggs. They got batter where you can make biscuits and you can make pancakes, you can make waffles. You know what I mean? And then
But it,
when that egg sauce they had, that wasn't bad. You tried the egg sauce?
I did. I did. I just all I'm gonna say. I did.
I mean,
I,
it was okay.
it was all right. It was all right.
Like I had, like you said, open mind. I said, okay, it's egg sauce. Dinah said it was good, but you know, Dinah, he eats everything. So I'm like, well, let me try it. But I only ate it once. That's all
Right.
I only ate it once.
I only ate it once too.
It wasn't bad. You know, and I
It
think
wasn't.
what is this? It's kind of like eggs with what is it really? It's like tomato paste.
Yeah, like kind of like a tomato based something sauce that is mixed with it. When I had it, it gave me indigestion, but I don't know if that's because I was already like on the cusp of having the food poisoning from the night before, you know, so that could have played a role in it. So I don't know, but what I do know for sure is that you open up you go down there and you open up an African American eatery, you will be in business until you die.
You'd be rich in a year probably.
Easy.
We had a spot on 79th and Western on the south side. It was called Mother's. And we used to go to this spot. That's when I was doing real estate years ago. And I would have a closing, and so I would treat some of my guys to eat breakfast at Mother's. They used to make pancakes about the same size as a frisbee.
Wow.
One of them, you know, the jumbo frisbee.
Yeah.
You had your regular frisbee, and then you had your jumbo frisbee. When they brought that thing out, it would take like 4 people. They would give you an omelet that was so huge, and I think at the time was I eating meat then? Yeah, I was eating meat then, and I bring out like a side of turkey bacon and turkey sausages, and then you get the big thing of orange juice with it. And I forgot what else. But when that place, because they tore it down to make way for a bus depot. But before that place got tore down, boy, you would have to literally get there at like 6 in the morning. Other than that, you're going to have an hour wait easy. Easy. Food was good, and it gave you so much, it would literally bust your gut.
So another good business. So what I noticed is that there were repair shops there, auto repair shops, but what I saw was like a lot of guys kind of on the side of the road with a jack, you know, doing mechanic work. So what you could do, you could go there, you could build like a 4 or 5 bay auto mechanic place. You could ship the lifts. You could ship the lifts from America there. You could ship the air compressors from America there, and you can open up an auto repair place, and you would do very well there. One thing that Americans, like if you're an American and you go over to Africa, there's our service, our quality of service, and our speed of delivering service will be a great benefit to us in Africa, because everybody's working, but it seems like Rakim was saying, the people that kind of serve you take a long time.
Yeah.
They're not as efficient. I don't want to sound critical at all, but you know, they don't get stuff done as fast as we do over here in the service industry. So if you come over there with that American mentality of, you know, get the customer in, get the customer out, do quality service, you know, stand by the quality of my work, you will do very, very, very well there.
Yes.
And then you can get guys there and you can train them, you know, turn them into master mechanics, and, you know, you can have a flourishing business. So that's another idea, right? You could pair that with shipping cars from America over to, you know, Nigeria, or, you know, any other. There's like 14 African countries that drive on the same side of the street that we do. So that means you can get cars from America and ship them to those 14 African countries. And that could be a business for you. Yeah. So if you're repairing the cars, you're shipping the cars, you know, you're going to be getting paid. If you're painting them and keeping them looking nice, keeping them running well, stocking parts, that could be another service, you know, where let's say you specialize in Japanese vehicles, Toyota and Honda, because we saw a lot of those out there.
Yes.
And you know, you stock up on parts, engines, transmissions, brakes, whatever. Body panels for those cars specifically. You'll make a lot of money. So
Yeah,
those are some suggestions of the opportunities that are available, on the continent.
yeah. I mean, pretty much everything.
Everything.
Freaking laundry service,
Yes.
catering businesses. A lot of weddings take place there. So if you wedding planner, plenty of things for you to do with that. I mean, it's just the opportunities are endless if you ask me. You just take
They
a little
are.
ingenuity, you know?
They are. And if and you could, and the same things we're talking about there, you can also do here. So if watching this stream and you're saying, okay, all that sounds good, but what about here? You could do the same thing here.
Yeah.
You can open up an auto mechanic shop here. You can be a wholesale dealer. I mean, you would do that here. There's so much you could do. You can open up a small market or grocery store here. Those always do big numbers, like these bodegas and corner stores. You'd be surprised at how much revenue they generate a year. I mean, we're talking upwards of $1.5 to $5 million, yearly, annually, right? So let's just focus, right? Let's make a commitment to not tear each other down, but to build each other up. Let's build ourselves up. Let's think critically. Let's study. Let's love ourselves. Let's love one another, and let's just do better.
Yeah, let's travel.
And let's travel.
We're going places, and we're giving y'all, our opinions on what we saw and the opportunities, the economic opportunities that we see there. If you in doubt, just book a trip and come with us. Now, we just explained we got Omani with a trip coming up. I got a trip coming up in November, going to Sierra Leone, and we just talked about two countries that we really haven't been going. We haven't been going to Liberia, and we haven't been going to Rwanda as a group. I haven't heard too many groups going there. I know some white groups that go, but we don't really rock with them like that. So, we got some things coming up. So I would say get your money together. Like I said, cut your debt, get your debt out of there, cut back on some of the Zuzu and Wham Whams, right? And then if you got to, take a little side hustle. There's all kind of side hustles out here now to put that money to the side so you guys could be ready to go. Because, we're looking at next year, later this year and next year for some of the travel dates. So you got plenty enough time to get ready. You really ain't got no excuses. You got to get off the couch, got to get off the internet, and you got to come and see for yourself.
That's right. That's right. Hey, my brother.
I'm glad
thank
you came up, man.
Man, it's a pleasure, man. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. And also, one more thing that I mentioned that I neglected to mention is truck driving. Huge industry, huge, financial potential. I mean, don't sleep, brothers in the trucking industry getting paid.
Yeah,
super duper paid, right? Hey, I saw that you put something in our group chat, and the song said, "I'm a boss, yes sir," something, yes sir. I said, yeah, he played that kind of song because that man's making money.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. But a lot of folks just be looking at the fact that okay, it's hard work, but it's a great payoff. Okay, and then it's one of those industries where you figure out how the country is ran. In order for you to get goods, we have a system here. If you study that system, it's barges, boats, basically, planes, trains, right? Trucks. That's it.
That's it.
Any one of them areas, you're gonna do well because that's how we get goods in this country. And
that's right.
You get in. That's the other thing. It's easy to get in. I think your planes are going to be a little bit more tough, and your railroad, your trains are going to be a little bit tough because you're going to have to do some studying. But the rest of them are pretty easy. You can pretty much manage.
That's right.
And most of the guys that I associate with, we in most of those areas, either aviation, trucks, and railroad.
That's right. Man, he's telling you the absolute truth. Man,
a lot of stuff.
I hope all the people in this chat share this information or share this live stream with anyone that that can benefit from the information that was provided. You know, I'm not looking to receive anything from anyone. I just want my people to do better. That's it.
Yeah, same
You don't
here.
got to pay me. You don't got to give me a shout out. I don't need none of that. I just want you to do better. You know, so when we come across each other, I can give you something meaningful and you can give me something meaningful, you know, that we both can benefit from. So,
And that's the reason
hey,
why I do this, because the people kept saying, "Why don't you?" You know, I would go on other people's podcasts or YouTube channels, and then they would hear me talking. They were like, "Man, you ought to get you a channel." I'm like, "All right, okay." I got tired of hearing it, so I did it. But I don't even really come over here that much. They been bugging me. Hey man, where you at? I'm like, well, I gave y'all in the I gave probably I think I got 400 videos up. And them 400 videos, man, it's enough information in them videos for y'all to just go to the moon and back.
hey man, we just gave them 2 hours and 17 minutes. So take it and run with it, you know?
Exactly. I'm gonna
So,
get you come up more, man. I'm gonna hit your line because I know I got your number. Because we probably need to come on more, and you got a lot of wealth of information, and especially when it comes to the real estate and the cars and the water treatment. I got a few others, so we're gonna kind of put that together and lead up until we get to that next um, trip together, so people
okay.
kind of see like what we're doing to prepare ourselves to get ready for trips. Because just because we're experienced travelers, other folks are not, and so they have a it's like a blind spot, okay, on how to do these things, and we can kind of show them from this video to the next one I come on to the next one. Then we start leading up to the trip and start getting ourselves prepared, and they'll see the enthusiasm building. You know what I mean? And then we get
That's
on the
right.
trip, then we can go live. I went live a couple of times on the trip, so go live on the trip to let people see, so that people can get over their fears. Because to me, it's like fear is the biggest obstacle that these folks are having, with at least going to see what Africa is all about.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I agree with that, man. Give it to them in baby steps.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, make it easy, make it simple, give it to them in baby steps. We'll be all right.
I think so too. Well, I think hey, I appreciate you coming on, bro. It's been a pleasure, and I'll hit your line, and we'll do this again.
All right, right on. Much love and respect to you, my brother.
Peace.
Peace.
I know my good brother there. He gave us a lot of good information. Shout out to him. But we had a great time, and even though the brother got sick and he was out of the game for about 2 to 3 days there, and that's where it helps to have an experienced traveler to be with you, because I knew exactly what he needed. Now, everybody that was there was giving all kind of suggestions, and I had to kind of fight through all of those suggestions to give him exactly what you need. You need when you go on these trips. Now that I brought that up, when you go on these trips, before you go, stop at any Whole Foods, stop at any Garden of Life or Fruitful Yield type of establishments where it's like a what they call health food store, and get you some activated charcoal. You definitely need to get it. And if you start feeling your stomach get a little queasy because we're just not used to that food, because I don't know if it's the water that they use. I don't know exactly what it is that kind of gives that queasy feeling in our stomach. But if you start taking charcoal before you leave America, so like the couple days before, I would take a tablet or two, right? On into the trip. And while I'm on the trip, I'll be taking it. So if I do happen to eat something, right, it absorbs right away and I'm cool, right? So and where I learned it is because I got sick one time going to Ghana, and I mean, boy, that's it. It pretty much got everybody on the bus. I think it was maybe I want to say it was like 15 of us, and out of that 15, 10 of us was sick. So it was pretty much the majority. Um, and I got so bad that I just couldn't take it. So I told my girlfriend at the time that she's gonna have to go to the pharmacy and find something that was gonna work. Um, and it was raining cats and dogs that day, and I was like, "Look, I hate to send you out here in the rain like that." I said, "But you got to go because I'm about to die here. So she was like, okay, fine. So she geared herself up to go. And then when she got downstairs at the hotel, they told her, well, you know what? We got a doctor on staff. We just got to call him. I said, well, would he come out doing all this rain? And he's like, well, you know, if you're sick, he has to. That's what we pay him for. So he showed up and he brought two things with him. One was an anti diarrhea medicine, and one was activated charcoal. With them two, literally the next day, I was like, "Let's go!" I was ready to eat and everything, and I learned something valuable because I was taking other stuff that I thought that would help. It didn't help. It didn't help at all. Okay, so that's why when we were on this trip and the brother got sick, I had to kind of like insist this is what you need. You know, I understand that folks may have not known, right, my background or whatever, and then understand that, you know, I may have known exactly what to take because people were throwing out all kind of ideas and wasn't nothing helping. So I had to insist, and I'm glad I did because once he got what he needed, he took it, and bam, you know, we was able to bring him back on the trip, and he was able to salvage the rest of the trip and have a great time. So you know, it helps to go with experienced travelers. That's the moral of it. It helps to go with experienced travelers. So that's why you want to go on trips with people, right? This is what this is about. We have the same mindset set, same ideas about certain things, right? And so if I'm on the trip with you, you're on the trip with me, and something happens, you want somebody there with some experience. You know what I'm saying? You want a experienced traveler that can truly help you, right? That's gonna know what to do. Now, once he got that charcoal, if he didn't get better, if I didn't, once I kept like checking on him because people were calling, hey man, how you doing? If after the second date, him having that charcoal, if he wasn't getting better, then I would have suggested that we go get a doctor and bring him. Okay, you don't get better by that second day, then we need to bring a doctor. Okay, and that's what would have been my suggestion. But after he got it that night, and he took it that night, and then that morning when we called and checked on him, he was doing better. I'm like, yeah, it's working already. Then we went out that day. We came back in. We was gone all day. By the time we came back in that night, checked on him again. He was even better. By that second day, midday, yeah, he was up and around. So I was like, yeah, so there's no need for a doctor at this point. And he just kept taking it. He kind of took so much and it was shared with a few of the other folks on the trip. So we had to go and buy more. Couldn't even find it. See, that's how this stuff works. I went to go get it because my luggage was misplaced and mine was in the luggage. So I didn't even have access to it. So when I went to go get me some from the pharmacy, of course they didn't have the show you how stuff works. And then they finally found my luggage and got it to me the day before we got ready. Was the day before? 2 days before we got ready to leave. My luggage finally showed up, and then I was able to take mine. And I was cool anyway because I really didn't eat much. I kind of fast a lot doing these trips because of that, especially because I didn't have my stuff. But overall, Nigeria was a success. I would definitely go again because, like the brother said, we only went to 2 states, so it's plenty of states there. So yeah, I would like to see a few more states to give it a real grade. But based off of the 2 states that I did go to and the experience I had, and if I had to grade the countries, I would still pick Sierra Leone number one, Ghana number two, Gambia number three. That's what it is. But I would definitely go again. But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give me some rest. If y'all ain't got no questions, I'm gonna take a few questions if you got any. Now is the time. Now is the time. Questions, 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 questions. I'm taking questions. So if you got any questions, go ahead and hit me now before I get off. And I'm gonna lay it down and try to make it back as far as I can tomorrow, so I can get on back. Probably show y'all a little bit about the African festival. Hopefully it don't rain this weekend in Chicago. I haven't even paid no attention, but we'll see. But yeah, that's my plan. That's if I get back, shoot, because I'm so far away still, and my time is kind of jacked up. I kind of jacked up my time, so hopefully I'm able to make it back. I may not even be able to do it, so let me cross my fingers. But any questions? Questions, questions, questions. Questions. It feels good to be back, but I can't wait till the day when I ain't really gotta be breaking my neck to come back. You know what I mean? I want to be able to just go over there and just chill, man, because it's like it's a lot of weight off your shoulders once you leave outside the divided snakes. It's a lot of weight off your shoulders. You know, you be amongst the majority. Everybody kind of look like you. You look like them. Nobody even looks at you twice. I love that, or to be able to blend in. You know, it's like looking at a. If I had to give y'all an analogy, it's like plucking a sunflower out of a field full of sunflowers, and then putting that sunflower in a field with corn, tomatoes, and split pea, and all. You know, it's like okay, you can. It stands out, but us going over there is just like the sunflower from here going over there to be amongst another group of sunflowers. We all look the same. Nobody even pays you no attention. So, it feels pretty good to be in the majority. Nobody really watching you. Nobody's giving you the evil eye. You ain't got no Karens or the equivalent. You know what I mean? So it's just a beautiful experience. Beautiful experience. But y'all ain't coming up with no questions, so I guess I'll go ahead and cut y'all loose. And I'm glad y'all hung out with me. And for folks on the playback, you can always email me. GoHamTrucking@gmail. GoHamTrucking@gmail. Um, and just let me know y'all doing all right. And if you're interested in making a November trip with us, we're still going to Sierra Leone in November. Hopefully, you all doing your DNA testing, and email me. You can go to the website, or you can come over here. You can leave a message here, or you can email me, and we can talk things over. So I'm gonna get up out of here. As always, y'all know I love you. Peace and hair grease. Hope everybody's doing fine under the circumstances. All right, try to dodge this matrix. You know what I'm saying? This demonic matrix. Um, Hope you all are doing good. And email me, and we can come up with some more ideas. I'll bring the brother back on. We had a very good build and vibe while we was over there. So brother, very knowledgeable. So we're gonna bring him in. He's from the West Coast as well. He's from LA, so give us a little West Coast flavor. And Mr. Laughlin, he's driving now, so we can't get him on like we normally would get him on. My son is driving too now. Today is his second day, so I probably call him in the morning to see how his second day went. So he's out and about as well. So we're making some moves over here. So y'all just stay tuned. That's what I would tell y'all. Just stay tuned. All right. Till then, peace and hair grease. See y'all next time.